What is up, guys? Delboy here. Just a quick post-fight thoughts video to Vasyl Lomachenko versus Jason Sosa. And Lomachenko won this fight by a corner retirement. He made Jason Sosa's team pull him out at the end of the ninth in a quality performance, to be quite honest. Not going to do a round by round, but for the first 3 rounds, Lomachenko was clearly outclassing Sosa, but Sosa was landing sort of a few body shots here and there. He was giving it a go without really sort of landing any sort of significant punches, apart from a few body shots here and there. The hooks to the body were landing at times. But apart from that, he never really had any success. But after round 3, he was really having no success. Lomachenko was picking him off with his jab, putting some punches together. The uppercut was landing consistently. Lomachenko was going down to the body very well, which is something that he does do well. We saw that against Gary Russell Jr. I felt the body work was effective. As the fight wore on, you could tell the body work was taking its toll. I felt there's a couple of times when Lomachenko unloaded to the body and it looks like it hurt Sosa. And as I said, it was definitely slowing him down because, Sosa came out, with some good intensity. He was trying to walk Lomachenko down. He was trying to throw punches. But as the fight wore on, his resolve was kind of waning. And, the sort of pressure and the intensity weren't really there after a few rounds because of Lomachenko's work, making him miss and making him pay. I felt Lomachenko looked really good, and I felt that Jason Sosa, at this stage of his career, was a decent title defense. It's some people speculated that pressure is a way to beat Lomachenko, and just because of the Salido fight, Now, me personally, I think the Salido fight was just too soon, to be quite honest, and I think Lomachenko is a different fighter now. He's much more suited to the professional ranks. He's just more experienced, and he's settled into the pro game nicely. So yeah, I think you can't really look too much into that because it was a one-off. No fighters really have done what Lomachenko's done. In regards to fighting for a world title in his second fight. So it was an L. He lost the fight, but it was in his second fight. So what can you say? But since then, he's really improved each fight. He's getting better and better and better. And now he's going to look for the big fights. As a fan, what do I want to see Lomachenko do? I would actually rather see him stay at 130 for a bit, try and get a couple of unification fights against the likes of Miguel Berchelt, against the likes of Jezreel Corrales or Gervonta Davis, somebody like that. I think they're all excellent fights. Unification fights, to me, always take priority. So they're some great fights. If you can't get a unification fight at 130, then try to avenge that Salido loss. I think that's a good look if you can go back and avenge that loss. I know they tried to make that fight before, and it depends on who you believe. I mean, some people said that Lomachenko was lowballing Salido, and other people said Salido was pricing himself out. So, it's hard to tell, who was correct and what side was right. But I'm pretty sure when Salido fought his last fight, he only got like 60 grand for it. So, maybe Salido is pricing himself out. But yeah. Tell me what you guys think of where does Lomachenko go next? And he also mentioned about 135 and fighting Mikey Garcia. That's an excellent fight. I would rather see Lomachenko stay at 135 and get some more belts and get a couple more big wins. But if they make a Mikey Garcia fight next, I'm not going to complain. It's a great fight. Mikey Garcia is undefeated. Some people say he's a pound for pound level fighter. So, that's a great fight. It's a world title fight. It's a fight we'd all like to see. Stylistically, I think it's a good fight. Mikey Garcia is a big puncher with an excellent jab and an excellent counter-punching ability, whereas Lomachenko will have the hand speed advantage the foot speed advantage, a better defense. I think that's a really good fight. So again, I'll be all for a fight with Mikey Garcia. But if I was on Lomachenko's team and I was managing him, I would stick at 130 for another year. Try and avenge that Salido loss and try and get a unification fight, and then sort of take it from there, kind of thing. But I'm not a manager. I'm not a promoter. I'm just a random guy who makes YouTube videos talking about boxing. There's a reason why I'm not a fucking promoter. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents on where Lomachenko should go. What do you guys think? Where do you think it should go? What do you want to see? And also, just a quick mention, Alexander Usyk defeated Michael Hunter by a 12-round unanimous decision. Now, again, we say this a lot on this channel. So many boxing fans are reactionary. One bad performance and you're exposed, or one performance you perceive to be bad and then a fight is exposed. When in reality, it's probably, maybe the opponent was better than he thought, or maybe it was just an off night, because I'm sure you guys are fans of other sports as well, and boxing's the only sport where you can't have an off night. Fans expect you to be at 100% every single time, but in other sports, whether it's soccer, football, whatever, you can have an off night and it's sort of forgiven. But in boxing, if you have an off night, you've been exposed. So yeah, I think people are looking a little too much into the Usyk fight. I felt he clearly won the fight. It was a good competitive fight though, and I did say before the fight, in the amateurs, Michael Hunter was a good fighter. He arguably beat Beterbiev. He's got an excellent jab that he showed in the amateurs, and I did say that before the fight. So I wasn't that surprised that it was competitive, because in the amateurs, as I said, Hunter was a very good technical boxer. Working behind that jab and countering well. In the pro game, he has kind of looked a little bit more disjointed and raw in how he fights, but he kind of took it back to his amateur style, where he sort of leads with his jab and sort of works behind it and sort of goes to the body here and there. Just a straight up and down good technical fighter. And Michael Hunter definitely made some fans last night, and he can definitely come again. And hopefully now he stays more active, because he's not fought in a year, I don't think, before this fight. So I'm looking forward to seeing Michael Hunter again. I think I said before the fight, I think I said it in my pre-fight video, that I felt Michael Hunter was the best cruiserweight in America, above Andrew Tabiti. From what I've seen of Tabiti, I'm not particularly a fan of. I don't particularly rate him that highly. I think Michael Hunter is better than Tabiti, but that's a fight to make. Why not? When Michael Hunter comes back, let him have a tune-up fight, and then why not Michael Hunter versus Andrew Tabiti? I think that's a good fight. As for Alexander Usyk, again, as I said before, a lot of people are saying this guy is going to easily dominate cruiserweight. And I said I felt Usyk was the best, but don't count out the other guys. Gassiev is not a fucking bum. He hits extremely hard. He's very young, so he's going to get better. You've got Maris Bradis, who outboxed Marco Huck the other day. Again, these are not easy fights. People just assumed that Usyk is going to clean up easily at cruiserweight, when I just don't agree. I think if they all fought each other, I think Usyk comes out on top. But there's not much in it. There's not as much in it as you guys make out. There's some good guys at cruiserweight. Glowacki's still there. I know Usyk's already beat him. Denis Lebedev. There's still some good fighters there. So yeah, I think Usyk, he's not going to have an easy run at cruiserweight, because there's some good fighters there. And one thing I've also said about Usyk, people just assumed that Usyk is going to go up to heavyweight and dominate, when I said, you know what, there's no grounds for saying that at all. I mean, how's he going to deal with a guy who's 6'7" with a good jab, aka somebody like Joshua? How's he going to deal with that? I'm not so sure. Usyk's good. I'm a fan of him. We're a fan of him on this channel, but people they crown people too early. Let this guy have some more fights at cruiserweight, get some unification fights, and then we'll take it from there. So yeah, I felt Usyk was pretty good, and Hunter also impressed me as well. It was a good fight where I felt Usyk clearly won, and a good learning fight because, you know, he took that tough fight against Glowacki, who was a top level contender. He then fought Tabisu Machunu, who was an awkward sort of cruiserweight, and he then fought an unbeaten guy who was a top amateur in Michael Hunter. So yeah, I'm satisfied with the level of competition that Usyk is fighting, and he can only get better with that type of fight. He can only learn from it if he's got the right people around him, that is. So yeah, I'll look forward to seeing how Usyk develops, and you know, it's going to be really interesting at cruiserweight to see what happens over the next year or two, because there's some excellent fights to be made there. And all I'm saying is, don't rule out Murat Gassiev, don't rule out Marius Bradis, you know, guys like that, because they're very good fighters and they're very dangerous. So yeah, and also just a quick mention on the undercard as well. The Ukrainian Alexander Vodzik also won a third round TKO against Uniecki Gonzalez, who obviously fought Jean Pascal a while ago and got robbed. He also fought Vladislav Shabransky and lost that fight. You know, Gonzalez proved in those two fights, although he lost those two fights, he proved that he can fight a bit. He proved that he's a tough guy. But Alexander Vodzik just sort of ran through him and took him out in the third round in a impressive victory, you know. Uniecki Gonzalez is not a top 10 level light heavyweight, but he's a tough guy, and you know, nobody's done that to him before. So it's going to be interesting to see where they match Vodzik next. He's ranked quite highly in the WBO. Is that the route they're going to go down? Maybe try and get a fight with the Andre Ward Sergei Kovalev winner, possibly. But in the meantime, you know, they're going to have to stay busy and, you know, fight some other fighters in the division. If I was managing Vodzik, where would I take him? Maybe try and get a fight with Nathan Cleverly, but you wouldn't have thought Cleverly would be too keen on taking that fight. You know, I think Vodzik versus Sullivan Barrera is an excellent fight. I'd love to see that one. Vodzik versus Umar Salimov is a decent fight. Vodzik versus, you know, somebody like Marcus Brown. You know, there's fights out there for him at this stage, but yeah, he's progressing quite nicely, and you know, I'm sure he'll be fighting for a title in the next sort of 12 to 18 months. What did you guys think of this card? I felt it was quite a good card. I enjoyed it. I felt Vodzik looked really good. I felt Lomachenko looked really good. Usyk in patches looked really good, but he had a tough fight. Really enjoyed the card. Tell me what you guys think. Peace.